Welcome to Xi Jinping briefing. The content of the briefing includes: after attempts to meddle in Taiwan's elections fail, China takes stock. Who is Lai Ching-te, Taiwan's next president? Taiwan's new president faces a hostile China and a divided people. How will Taiwan's new leader shape cross-strait relations? U.S. delegation heads to Taiwan after voters defy China. After attempts to meddle in Taiwan's elections fail, China takes stock. Washington Post. Lai Ching-te, Taiwan's current vice president and former independence advocate, was elected as president on Saturday. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which the Chinese Communist Party refuses to engage with, will serve an unprecedented third term. In response, Beijing is expected to increase efforts to intimidate Taiwan, using tools such as military harassment and economic pressure. However, analysts do not believe that conflict or invasion is likely to occur, at least for now, as China will be keen to maintain recently stabilized relations with the U.S. In addition, Beijing will want to avoid pushing the Taiwanese public further away. However, China has already rejected the DPP's position that Taiwan is a sovereign country, and there are fears that Lai's election could bring Taiwan closer to war with China. Beijing may exploit the president-elect's weaknesses and has already emphasized that Lai only won 40% of the vote. Who is Lai Ching-te, Taiwan's next president? New York Times. Lai Ching-te, who was elected as Taiwan's president on Saturday, is known for his firm convictions and strong sense of right and wrong. Lai, who will take office in May, addressed the issue of Taiwan's independence during a visit to China in 2014, saying that while his party historically argued for independence, any change in the island's status had to be decided by all its people. Lai's opponents worry that his lack of experience in foreign policy and cross-strait relations, combined with a tendency for off-the-cuff remarks, could lead to crises with Beijing. However, his supporters believe that his humble background and understanding of the hardships faced by ordinary people in Taiwan make him well-suited to lead the country. Lai, who began his career as a doctor, quickly rose through the ranks of the Democratic Progressive Party and has served as mayor of Tainan, premier, and vice president to outgoing President Tsai Ing-wen. Although Lai and Tsai have not always been allies, they campaigned together, highlighting their shared commitment to continuity. Taiwan's new president faces a hostile China and a divided people. The Globe and Mail. China has voiced opposition to Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, after President Tsai Ing-wen was elected to a third term. Tsai secured 57% of the vote, while her main rival, Han Kuo-yu of the Kuomintang, won 38%. The DPP also won a majority of seats in the legislature. China considers Taiwan a province and has said it would use force, if necessary, to secure reunification. It has also ramped up military and economic pressure on the island in recent years. The government in Taipei, however, has accused Beijing of trying to undermine Taiwan's democracy. China's officials have expressed opposition to the DPP's stance on independence and foreign interference. Chen Binhua, a spokesman for China's Taiwan Affairs Office, said Beijing would firmly oppose the separatist activities aimed at Taiwan independence as well as foreign interference. How will Taiwan's new leader shape cross-strait relations? Deutsche Welle. Taiwan's presidential and parliamentary elections have resulted in the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, securing a third presidency in a row. This will likely keep Taiwan and China in a continuous icy relationship. Beijing claims Taiwan as its own territory and has intensified its determination to reunify with the island. The DPP's victory was within China's expectation, but the party lost 11 seats in the latest parliamentary election. The U.S. Secretary of State has reiterated a commitment to maintaining cross-strait peace and stability and pledged to further the long-standing unofficial relationship between the U.S. and Taiwan. U.S. delegation heads to Taiwan after voters defy China. Financial Times. A group of former U.S. officials will visit Taiwan in a high-level delegation following the country's presidential election. The U.S. visit, which has been criticized by China, is intended to demonstrate support for Taiwan's democracy and gain an understanding of the future plans of the newly elected president, Lai Ching-te. China has denounced Lai as a dangerous separatist due to his association with the Democratic Progressive Party, which favors formalizing Taiwan's de facto independence. The U.S. visit is seen as risky due to Beijing's objection to official contacts between Taiwan's government and other countries. How Taiwan's election fits into the island's past and its future. New York Times. Taiwan's election on Saturday has implications for China's rivalry with the U.S., with the vote a rebuke to Beijing's claim over Taiwan. China continues to claim sovereignty over Taiwan and has been stepping up its military activity near the island, raising concerns of the possibility of conflict. The US has always been an important backer of Taiwan's security, and the country's ties with Taiwan have not derailed the economic relationship between the US and China. Ex-US officials set to meet Taiwan politicians, testing China. Bloomberg. A delegation of former top US officials is set to arrive in Taiwan to meet with leading political figures, in a move that further tests the recent improvement of ties between Washington and Beijing. The delegation, led by former National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley and former Deputy Secretary of State James Steinberg, is scheduled to arrive on Sunday and will meet with a range of political figures to convey congratulations on Taiwan's successful elections and support for its continued prosperity and growth. China strongly opposes nations having contact with political leaders in Taiwan and has vowed to bring the island under its control eventually, by force if necessary. The U.S. visit to Taiwan comes after President Joe Biden stated that the U.S. does not support independence for Taiwan, in an attempt to reassure China. Taiwan's Lai faces tough road ahead after historic election win. Nikkei Asia. Lai Ching-te's victory in Taiwan's recent elections is seen as a powerful rebuff to China's intimidation tactics, demonstrating the country's rejection of Beijing's hardline approach. However, Lai faces two major challenges. His party, the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, lost its majority in the legislature and will need the support of domestic political allies to effectively govern, and Taiwan's main supporter, the U.S., is currently distracted by conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine, as well as its own presidential race. Furthermore, Lai's victory pushes Taiwan's electoral politics beyond its normal boundaries, making a fourth win even harder to secure. Beijing's response to Lai's victory and its moves before his inauguration in May will be closely watched. The DPP's declining number of seats in the legislature since 2016 also gives a possible window for Beijing to bypass the central government and work directly with opposition figures, undermining Lai's government. In addition, the tussle between the legislature and executive could limit Lai's ability to drive forward major changes in domestic policy. The victory was a devastating verdict on the Kuomintang's KMT China approach, highlighting the problems with the party's traditional One China notion. Taiwan to China, we're not afraid of you. Bloomberg. Taiwan's recent presidential election victory for the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, sends a clear message to Beijing that the island's democracy is here to stay, according to an op-ed in the South China Morning Post. However, the narrow election win means President Lai Ching-te will have to work with rivals from the Kuomintang and Taiwan People's Party to deliver what citizens want from their next government. The DPP's win also defies Beijing's narrative that Chinese people and multi-party democracies do not go together. Lai's victory in Taiwan is an embarrassment for Beijing. The Sydney Morning Herald. Taiwan's presidential election result on January 11 signals a further shift away from the idea of unification with China. The win by the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, candidate Tsai Ing-wen, who supports the independence of Taiwan, will likely result in Beijing taking a harder stance against Taiwan. Beijing has claimed that the DPP cannot represent the mainstream public opinion on the island. However, the reality is that 92.6% of voters in Taiwan oppose unification with China. Well, look who's taking stock after failing to meddle in Taiwan's elections. It's China. That's right, folks, China is re-evaluating its approach after Taiwan's current vice president, Lai Ching-te, was elected as the island's new president. But don't worry, I won't leave you hanging. Let's dive into the details. Lai Ching-te, known for his firm convictions and strong sense of right and wrong, will soon take office as Taiwan's president. He addressed the issue of Taiwan's independence during a visit to China in 2014, saying that any change in the island's status had to be decided by all its people. However, his opponents worry that his lack of experience in foreign policy and cross-strait relations, combined with his tendency for off-the-cuff remarks, could lead to crises with Beijing. On the other hand, his supporters believe that his humble background and understanding of the hardships faced by ordinary people in Taiwan make him well-suited to lead the country. Now, let's talk about China's reaction. Beijing is expected to increase efforts to intimidate Taiwan, using tools such as military harassment and economic pressure. However, analysts believe that conflict or invasion is not likely to occur, at least for now. China wants to maintain its recently stabilized relations with the US and avoid pushing the Taiwanese public further away. But let's not forget, China has already rejected Taiwan's position that it is a sovereign country, and there are fears that Lai's election could bring Taiwan closer to war with China. Beijing may exploit Lai's weaknesses and has already emphasized that he only won 40% of the vote. But here's the thing, folks. Taiwan's election is not just about China. It has implications for the US as well. The US has always been an important backer of Taiwan's security, and the country's ties with Taiwan have not derailed the economic relationship between the US and China. In fact, a group of former US officials is set to visit Taiwan in a high-level delegation to demonstrate support for Taiwan's democracy and gain an understanding of the newly elected president's plans. China, of course, is not too happy about this, as it strongly opposes nations having contact with Taiwan's political leaders. So, what's the bottom line here? Taiwan's election is a clear rebuke to Beijing's claim over the island. It sends a message that Taiwan's democracy is here to stay and that Chinese people and multi-party democracies do go together. However, Lai Ching-te will face challenges, both domestically and internationally, in delivering what the citizens want from their next government. And China, well, they're taking stock and figuring out their next move. Will they escalate tensions or try a different approach? Only time will tell. But hey, let's not forget about you, my dear viewers. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you make of China's reaction to Taiwan's election? And what do you think Lai Ching-te's presidency means for the future of Taiwan-China relations? Don't be shy, share your ideas in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.